Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance, Performance Shop, Lone Star, Mopars.com. The mat's still dirty, haven't taken the time to clean it, so we're in the same recording cycle, and that's a good thing because I realized as I went about scurrying about trying to find items that have been put into use prior to this video, I totally skipped an item in Tool Haul 84 now. I don't think that's too big of a deal because we spent a lot of time, on the little Gedore 1Bs. If you missed that and you want to see Gedore wrenches, check it out, especially if you enjoy seeing Gedore wrenches in imperial sizes. With that said, the way I do things here, timestamps and links, they're there for your convenience. Alpha gloves is what's on the hand. Anytime you place an order with KC Tool, like we did here for Tool Haul 85, you get a bit of thanks. Currently shipping a number 2 Phillips from Witte. Up next after that, we've got the German Tool sticker pack. Spend over $100 and you get the German Tool sticker pack. 75 and up gets you free freight. And if you're thinking like, well, it's time for the ballast can. Nope. The seasonal was over by the time we ordered this, so we did not have the buy one get one free ballastal, but I figured it should come back just for honorable mention, right? So the logical place to get started here seems like the item that I totally screwed the pooch on last time by forgetting to mention, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So this item comes from NWS. I believe it was the tool of the day. Currently, it's going to cost you $30.75, which, if this interests you, that's really not that bad of a price. But tool of the day, it was kind of like, ooh, that's too handy to say no to. Part number would be 394-1-240. If you're thinking about all the NWS prefixes, you're probably thinking like, huh, I don't know what this is going to be. This seems like an odd starting number there. Well, here it is. Oh, wait, my bad. I just dropped that bag down with nothing in it, didn't I? So, like I said, tool of the day. I have not used this. Did I? I might have used it one time. But I haven't used it much. But it was kind of something. I'd always kind of thought about picking something up like this. Never really bothered to look at it from NWS or a German company for that matter. And, yeah, we're just going to throw it down. You're thinking like, what in the world is this thing? Well, you'll probably for sure understand what it is when I do this, right? This is designed to cut fuel line or tubing or I guess any soft rubber. I think if I used it, it would have been used on just stereotypical, can't run it anymore with ethanol, 3H rubber. I kind of think I did. Don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure we did. I remember being sad that I didn't use this with the clear tubing I did when I made the transfer pump. I thought, man, this would have been perfect. But it was sitting in a drawer and I wasn't thinking that I even had it, So I'm totally not going to lie. At this point in time, with the ethanol content and fuel, the good old rubber fuel lines, where this would probably be like the bee's knees, aren't quite as prevalent, right? I'm running a lot of, really fancy thick stuff with liners and things. To my left, I debated if we should demo this thing. I thought I had a coil of like 5/16 line. I couldn't find it. Of course, what I found was some Aeroquip line. I have no clue if it would be capable of cutting that or not. But the bottom line is like I've sort of moved on to braided and PTFE, and this is something I think we could cut the inner tube just fine with this. It's just stainless braid, probably not the best idea for the longevity of this blade. So traditional rubber fuel lines, I think this is going to be awesome. But if you're thinking like, hey, idiot, even if this was tool of the day, if you're sitting there and you're giving us all these reasons why you can't use it, on automotive or, small engine type fuel lines anymore, why would you have bought it? Even if it was a great price? Well, quite simply, there's still one thing that's traditionally rubber, or PVC or some hybrid thereof, and constantly blows up and fails. And if you're thinking along the lines I am, that's right, it's an airline. So, all the time, these stupid things, whether it's like an employee carelessly like running over it, literally, with like a dolly or a pallet jack. I can't tell you how many times a pallet jack has like ruined a pretty new air hose, and it kind of gets old. Sometimes just, the pressure, it builds up and you get that like strange little bubble, kind of like a pizza wart. or something, and then she blows, and then you have to cut it back and, you know, put your adapters in and scrunch it down, and constantly leaks. It never seems to work well. But this will be awesome for stuff like that. And of course, small engines, you know, that still use the rubber lines. But basically, you would come in, if my finger was going to precariously be sliced in half, we would put it in the little guillotine there, the razor blade comes down, and it cleanly cuts. The directions here, if I zoom in, it's also weird seeing NWS with like a plastic dipped handle in black. You know, that's kind of the crazy thing. So keep your fingers away from the blade. No, this didn't come with any protector at all. It's just ready to go to town. Unless I did use it, but it didn't come with a protector then either. Don't turn the tube. So this isn't a situation where you're going to sit here and do this. I guess they just want you to go all the way through. Capacities on this, I legitimately don't know, but I think it's going to be fine for what I would use, which would typically be 1/2 inch and smaller, we'll just say. Might have some larger capacity. Right here, kind of cool little sticker, patented and Germany. So kind of a neat little deal. Kind of looks like some tool that like your granddad might have had, you know, but it seems like really good. I like the build quality. I'm thinking, I don't know if NWS makes this, or there's like that company in Germany that just excels in things like this that then gets rebranded. No clue. I'm not going to speak or speculate on that. If you know, by all means, leave a comment down below. But this is something that would have been like, when I was in high school, all the time, I was dealing with just straight up rubber fuel line, you know, and I'd always come in, first thing you do, you know, you like fix the carb, you swap the carb, and you go from quarter, which most people like retroactively downgraded to from 5/16, and you'd sort of put a better mechanical fuel pump, and you'd go 3/8. And that's what I would do and do and do and do. And then you have like buddies, you know, come over, and, you know, their car's bogging down, you know, and you kind of like set the timing, and then you're like, ah, you need more fuel. Well, you run 3/8. So there it is. Like I said, should have been in the last tool haul, my fault. But hey, we got it covered, and now it's here, and hopefully I remember I have the thing, because I still can use it from time to time. So if you want to see this thing demoed, we'll get to that. Again, this is a tool haul. We try to just showcase it, tell you why I bought it, what we could use it for, so on and so forth. But I'd kind of like to know the limitations on this guy. I do believe a spare blade is available. Typically when there's spare parts, when you go to the link to KC Tool, down below, you know, right sort of above the reviews and below the price and everything, there'll be like spare parts. Typically, don't hold me to that, but that's usually what you see. So I would think the blades on these, they're usually not bad, sub $10 most of the time. This is a pretty substantially sized one though. But again, I think it should be available, and again, it's going to be significantly less than the cost of purchasing the tool. So if you use this, if you know who manufactures it, by all means leave a comment down below. Coming up next, if you recall in the previous tool haul, I told you I try to keep these tools like pristine and sealed so they show up here and make a great impression on you, and they're not dirty and they don't look terrible like, oh, that's wretched. Who would spend money on that? I like them to showcase really well here. If you see them again when I'm doing something and they look like they've been in use for 20 years, I don't care. But right here, I like them to be clean. I also told you there was an item that I was really, really excited to get opened up so I could put it into use, and that one is coming up. It's not coming up next though, because what's coming up next is from Knipex. This is their part number 2881-280. Some of you are sitting there and you're like, hey, I don't know metric, but I know 250 is 10 inches. What on God's green earth would be bigger than 10 inches that this guy would have brought in? He must have got like some jumbo alligators or something. Well, you're close. It's a very, very large size. Price point of $56.93. But what we have is right here. These are pliers that I can honestly tell you I wish I would have bought a long time ago. It's one of those things where I'm thinking like, yeah, well, you know, seems like they'd be handy, but they're always high. This was sort of that weird time where like a lot of Knipex stuff was like 32% off. Again, it's not really advertised, but if you go there and you look, you might catch it and you're like, hey, you know, I might pull the trigger on that. And if you're thinking like, hey, why aren't these in a bag, and is that what is on there, anti-seize, metal shavings. Well, yeah, it's a combination of everything you could imagine. It actually doesn't look that bad as I zoom in, but I think you can tell. These have been used quite a bit. That's a testament to how useful they've been to me. That probably is anti-seize. They're just dirty. That's all there is to it. And again, part of me hates showing them in this manner, but you know, sometimes stuff shows up and I need it, and I use it, and that's what we did in this case. So these suckers at regular price are spendy, but they're stupid useful. If you just look at them, number one, if you drop anything, like going back to this, swapping carburetors, like cotter pins, you know, hold your linkage on, fall. They go under the intake manifold, like all the way down, and you can't quite get your hand there. Because they're like, oh, I feel it, and then it just like takes that two pecks of, you know, cast aluminum that way, and it's completely out of reach. You're under the other side, and you can't get it at all. That's where stuff like this comes in handy in its most simplistic form. I was able to use these on a fuel pump change, and that's why they're dirty. Super nice. You'll note all the various gripping zones. There is no cutter. That would kind of be the one thing you might want, but it could also be hugely detrimental. If you're just trying to grab, I would be fine not having it. Note that the teeth right here, they're not crosshatch. That would just be, in my opinion, the perfect iteration of this tool. But they do hold quite nicely, and again, you've got lots of gripping zones here. Again, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've got your teeth here, conventional style. So they're strange looking, but if you don't have them, I would watch for sales or tool of the day, especially when you get this for like a really good deal. This is a pair of pliers that you will not regret having. If we have some time here at the end, I'll try to grab what I had previously to these that were 90 degrees. They do make these in a 90, I believe. There may be a straight version. I think those would be what they call their assembly pliers. Don't hold me to this, but I would love to add both of those to the arsenal. That speaks volumes for these. Coming up next, what route do we want to go? Oh, there's a tool that we left, so I will get to grab some things. We're just going to go with this. We haven't had anything from Hazet in a while. This, I believe, just like this, in the previous video, was tool of the day. I think this was tool of the day. The price point was $22.44 right now. I think this was like $10 to $15, and I just couldn't really pass it up. It's their part number 917-5. This is a 123 millimeter item, so longer than 4 inches, shorter than 5 inches. And if you're thinking like, what is it? Well, it was in this bag, and that probably narrows it down for you. You're thinking like, that's a pretty thin bag that way. What's the deal? I think I used this too. Man, I just bagged it back up. My apologies, but it is a, we'll just call it 5-inch extension from Hazet. This is nothing like if I was going to buy something, I would have gotten a different size, but this was tool of the day. It was a great pickup, and you can never really have too many extensions. Now, I have a couple of extensions, and I really like them, and I was kind of curious. I'm like, well, hey, you know, I love the Hazet 916 HP. I wonder what their extensions are, because I haven't had, you know, a 1/2-inch drive extension from them. Yeah, I've definitely used that. My apologies. You know, sometimes I'll use it and clean it. This time I did not at all. But the catch is you got your traditional matte chrome and the classic Hazet like trademark, and then they incorporate, you know, like shiny chrome too. So right there, okay, I thought that was 916.5 for some reason. It was 917, but you got the 917.5. Let's just zoom in on this. So first thing first, Hazet branding, 917.5, and if I get her to focus, made in Germany. There's our business end right here. Like, yeah, I've used it. Sorry, it happens. Like I said, sometimes I run to clean. This is not wobble or anything. It does have the ball detents, and we're going to come in now. And we're going to throw it down on this 916 HP, but this is the HPS. Why? It's got the quick release. So, I'm going to line this sucker up. This gives you an idea how this would couple to a Hazet ratchet. Super nice. So, quick release allows me to quickly release it, right? Or does it? Good Lord. Okay, You know what? I'm glad I grabbed this. This thing, I grabbed that one because this is clean. Okay, that's what these are supposed to look like. This is what the 916 HP looks like. Not quite as clean, right? There's also just a ton of debris built up where that's just a little greasy around the perimeter. I just get tons and tons of dirt and stuff. But let's put this on. So it should fit the same. It's the same ratchet minus the quick release. It's actually easier, and probably because I use this ratchet a ton. Totally not gonna lie, but yeah, I mean, just putting these two side by side, you can see. Yeah, that's why I grabbed this one. Again, I try to make a good first impression for the tool. That said, if you see something dirty, it means I use it, and that probably means it's pretty good or it impressed me, right? Or we're testing it, some combination thereof. So again, would I have bought this typically? No, but on Tool of the Day, yes. It's not really a common extension size over here, but it's a good size. It's one, the good news is that would be a size I would not purchase, so now we have basically a 5-inch extension handy. Super happy there. Sticking with the half-inch theme. This is something that a lot of you don't know I have because we've never made a tool haul on it. And you might have seen this in the Ram Revival or something like that. This is a Gedore half-inch drive ratchet. It's got the quick release. Really, if you look at the anvil on this guy, you can tell, like, this has been through some stuff. She's had a few miles put on her, right? This ratchet is really good in my opinion. Not many people ever, get a Gedore ratchet if you want to try something great out. It's always like, Stahlwille, Hazet, Vera, even, people recommend that. But this is just sort of here being great, and it's totally under the radar, in my opinion. At least it doesn't get the fanfare it should, either on forum posts or, social media or YouTube or anything like that, basically. This is the item. This is the item that I was stupid excited. I've been wanting to use it. Obviously, we use that. I'm pretty confident I cut a rubber line with that. We use this. It happens sometimes. This item, though, is what I was stupid excited about. And I guess I'll save my item that I haven't gone and grabbed yet. This is from Gedore, okay, obviously. It is their part number 6237170. It is currently priced at $119.48. When I got this thing, and I think that's like 30-something% off. When I bought this thing, it was like 50%. I don't know why. I really don't know. I think I even kind of like touch base on them, like, hey, is this like accurate? And there was one in stock, and I was like, you know what? I'm pulling the trigger. This is not something I needed at all under any stretch of the. I should have shown you this ahead of time. It's not anything we needed. It's something I would have wanted to try, would love to try, and it's just totally different than anything I've ever seen in this style. So first thing first, right here, hopefully you heard me cut this plastic bag. I literally have withheld, I've restrained myself from using this. But there's 3 staples in this bag. There's the part number. And then I just did this. Like, you can tell that ratchet is not going to come out of that hole. So I just used the card over here, and we've got to make it bigger so we can get it out. Alright, is that a large enough opening? We got the anvil free. Should be able to extract her. Okay, so I'm gonna cover this up. There's Gedore. There's the branding. There's the handle. Looks just like that one, right? If I spin this around to the gloved hand, you can see, like, oh, hey, what's going on here? But hey, yeah, is that a flex head? Indeed, it is. And then you're thinking, like, how do you change direction? Well, I'm assuming we rotate this. Yep. Okay, so here's our anvil, and you're like, hey, that's not a half-inch. That looks like 3/8. Totally is 3/8. And then right here, we'll just spin that full circle. And now, to change directions, we're going to rotate this. You heard it click. And now we're going to go back around the other way. Full circle. And now I'm going to move my hand. So, yeah, this is something that, looks like it would be pretty archaic, like out of the 60s or 70s if somebody had come up with a lock and flex head. I'm intrigued by that. I don't know if this is great. I don't know if it's terrible. I don't know if I'm going to love it or hate it. I just wanted to try it, and at the price point it was at, when it was like the weird 50%, couldn't pass it up. I want to say this thing was like, I don't know, maybe 70. It was just a stupid good buy. It was cheaper than standard flex head ratchets. So the way this works, this is like a little knurled thumb wheel, and I assume there's a set screw, right? I don't know for sure. Am I going the wrong way? What am I doing? There we go. Okay, so that's obviously the position she's been in. I'm going to pull this up to my face. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's at least 4 positions here. 1, 2, 3, possibly 5. What I'm wanting to do, and I don't know that I can pull this off, we're going to zoom in. And so, man, you can't see this, sadly. It's almost like a half-cut bolt, like if I just went and lopped the side of a bolt off. Let's see if we can articulate through every position. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to start here. Alright, there's 1, 2. So again, think of that angle of what you will. 3, 4. That's going to be flush, 180. 5, 6. And I guess it's basically 6, right? It fits like it's clocked and indexed here. Okay, that's like a legit position. When I come all the way over here, I think it's kind of wanting to ratchet into that position, but I think we could lock it here. Let's see. Oh, hey, now I've got this in total freeform here. Okay, cool. So this is just total flop. All right, let me back out here. Check this out. Gloved hand out of the picture. Yeah, so let's now tighten this back up. Just put a little retention on her. So this is cool. This is kind of like what you would want if you sat and you thought about like a locking flex head. You would want the ability to be completely not locked and floppy. Some people will appreciate that, some people will hate it. 2, you'd want the ability to just cycle through loosely. And then of course, C or 3, you would want the ability to dial this sucker in at the exact angle that you want it. So right here, this is stupid solid. Like, this is impressively solid. This is a pretty cool ratchet, and unlike my Matco, this functions right out of the box, and I don't have to use a pair of pliers. So, yeah, this thing is this is gonna be pretty cool. Now, I'm pretty sure it's a 72 tooth. Don't hold me to that, but dadgum, son, this is neat. This is something. It makes so much sense when you see it, right? You know, like having the little thumb wheel here. Like, look how quick we can articulate this thing. If you use the thumb and the index finger, it's even better. And then you just come in and you lock it down. It's impressive how fixed that truly is. Like, now I've really put the strength down on this. Look at that. Hey, this is cool. This was totally a smart pickup on my end. Kudos to me. You know, I was just thinking like, man, this is so unique. I've got to try it. I think I'm gonna like this possibly better. I'm gonna go grab a couple of items and we're gonna take a look at this. All right, my sincere apologies here. I don't have time to like hunt forever. I am currently unaware of the whereabouts of the Matco. So I constantly soak it in ballast tool, trying to hope that it'll come around, but it's either under the truck or in the truck or something. And what's probably the better comparison right now anyway, though, is this. This is the birthday ratchet. It's something I grabbed for myself. This is, in my opinion, a fantastic locking flex set. Everything's easy to articulate. I mean, I'm right-handed. That's why it was pulled into a saw. You know, but here with my left hand, I'm able to just articulate this thing whatever position we want it to be. Just incredibly easy. This has been really good to me. If I come in and we take this little SK, this is a quick release, you know, to the credit of Stahlwille. We can come in and we'll just go this scenario here. God, that thing's so good. So good. Let me get her straightened back out. I'm going to quick release here. And just a quick size comparison between these two. Stahlwille might be a little longer. Let's go ahead and let's check the socket fitment. Obviously this is SK, so you know there's could be some issues there. Really nice. Let's now come in, check this out. We're just going to cycle. We're going to go down, make her straight. Lock this in place. We'll make it as tight as I can. Boom, there we go. Switch directions. Pull the sockets. And let's just do a quick overall length comparison between these two guys. Yeah, the Stahlwille is just a little bit longer, but look at the difference between these two. This is kind of more of a traditional design. The Gedore sort of incorporates their own unique design in their ratchet. In fact, if I grab this 1/2 inch here, you can see kind of a cool comparison here. I would assume their 3/8 would be smaller unless they keep the same form factor in every drive size, but this is a 1/2 inch, okay, and this is a 3/8 locking flex, so you get about the same length and just a little bit, about a head extra. That would actually be interesting to know. Like if I had this 1/2 inch in 3/8 version, would it be the same footprint or would it be shorter? These are super neat. Man, I'm trying to make one more video because I want to get a light charging, so I don't want to spend a ton of time here, but this is, when I looked at this and I debated it, I was like, yeah, I think I might like that, but there's a chance, you know, like it would suck or be weird or cumbersome. This, so far, you know, we haven't like used it or anything. There is a little, obviously it has to come up a little bit. It might stick out more on the bottom than the top. That would be my only concern if you were to accidentally, you know, like come across that. That said, if you're ratcheting with this, I guess you could, there's a chance it might be an issue. We won't really know until we've used it, but dadgum, this thing is cool. Like the best scenarios so far I had in my mind have all rung true for this. It's just really, really nice. So on that front, we have one more item that I forgot to grab, so I'm going to go get it, and then we will be back to close this video out. All right, our final item here. It's kind of a repeat offender and kind of not. It is part number WT63086. Standard price, it'll set you back just north of 20 bucks at $20.57. It comes from Witte. And like I said, you've sort of seen it, but you haven't seen it like this. Okay, it's a really long bag here, by the way. In fact, look how long that bag is. We'll throw that down again. What this is, I just can't seem to get enough of them. It is their flexing, like you can see here, really nice flex, very supple on this one. You know, I know this one's like brand new based on the handles design, but this is just going to be a flex bit holder. So if I come over here and grab it, ironically, a bit of thinks, and we plug that in, we've created a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, but it has flex. So sneaking around an obstacle, something a little offset or coming in at a funky angle, you can totally use it in this manner. The catch is, it has the updated Maxx Pro Plus. So, used to, this would have been gray, right? And this has now finally made its way over to this product line. So, case in point, I can reach this guy. Right here, the Maxx Pro Plus, again, sort of the flocked, fleeced, you know, anti-slip handle, if you will, was this gray color. Now it's this one. So we first saw these with our Torx drivers, and that's where I kind of like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And now it's available here in the locking, not locking, but flexible bit holder. Now in terms of the bit retention, if you recall, we brought in several of these guys. This one right here, if you zoom in and can actually get the camera to focus, which I don't know that you'll be able to, you will see sort of like that wire ring kind of around the perimeter there. So when I grab the bit, we'll press it down. really positive retention, and again, that's kind of what you want. Also, case in point, if I grab this drill bit, I just go straight down the middle. I know that's not focused, but there's no magnetic retention there. This is all spring. So this is another item. Again, some of you might remember these being showcased a little bit more in depth, but we'll definitely do that coming up as well. It's all things in the agenda off in the not too distant future, but right now I'm just kind of on cloud nine. In part, I've got this open. I've been wanting to use this so badly. And I can finally do that. I don't have to worry about keeping it clean. Granted, pretty much everything else in the tool haul we kind of wrecked and gotten dirty ahead of time. But hey, this one I can finally set free and send it to town. It's going to get used a lot, and we'll have a good feel, especially like if this is going to be an issue. Do I ever bump that on accident, you know, and like, you know, drop the position, or does it just graze it enough that it leaves the flex but stays in the slot? All that remains to be seen, but initial bench impressions, stupid happy with that sucker. So, KC Tool Haul 85. In my opinion, it was a great one. Now I've got a low battery light, dang it. But wanted to get that light video cranked out. But anyway, I'll try to do that maybe. Let me know if you have used any of this stuff. The NWS hose cutter, Hazet extensions. What brand of extension do you prefer? I guess is a good way to address that. If you want to, feel free to talk about how fantastic these pliers are. I forgot to grab their like 90-degree great neck counterpart. You've heard me talk about those pliers for quite some time, but these have been great to me in the limited time I've had them. Let me know if you like them, don't like them, if you would get straight 90, whatever. My idea was I wasn't sure about them, so I just went with that middle ground. I went with the 45s. So I can play it safe, right? This guy right here was a fantastic pickup. Some of you will hate this, some of you will like it. I don't know where you're going to fall, but it's definitely unique. Makes a ton of sense, like I said, when you just sit there and think about it. I'm excited to use it, and then of course we got the birthday ratchet here, so this one's been super good to me. With that said, let me know your thoughts on any of this stuff that you want to talk about. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. With that said, thanks so much for watching, and I hope I catch you back here Wednesday and Saturday for more action from the shop.